Oh, would you stop? I'll keep the little participants tab open down here in case anyone else hops in.
Otherwise, do we just run it as usual? We just don't vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we still call to order and all that jazz?
Why not? It'll be fun. All right.
Yeah, it will just be not official. That's all.
Okay.
But it's worth writing down all of this stuff, I think. Because I think discussing what your conversation with Matt is important, but not voting on it.
All right, so this is the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees meeting. It is October 29th, 5:15 p.m. And I'm calling this meeting to order. We do not have a quorum, so we will just be discussing the items on the agenda and not voting on anything. So that being said, we'll skip over the minutes and go right to financial report.
So y'all have had this for almost 2 weeks now, I think, because we were supposed to meet last week. But we're roughly 29.67% through the fiscal year, or at least we were as of October 17th, and expended 33% of our overall operational budget, which seems like overspending, but we were expecting to spend a lot on repairs and maintenance early on. And CWMR's expense happens early on. So I still feel good about where we are and don't anticipate any budget overruns or anything. Any questions on that bit?
Nope.
What follows is the summary of all of the trustee accounts, which when you put everything together, the capital funds, the building fund is up to $244,383, which that'll be topping $250,000 after the auction winnings all roll in. Almost $30,000 in unrestricted funds, 922 restricted for archival expenses, 2,680 restricted to children's books, 138,16 restricted to circulating material, and $10,000 unspendable trust.
Justin, I can't move this at all, and so I only see through.
I think she's gone. She's gone.
Oh no.
He was trying really hard to move that thing.
Yeah. It won't scroll.
That's because only Justin can do it, I guess, huh?
Yep. Y'all are stuck looking at my screen.
All right. Well, I guess we might as well continue on since we're not voting anyway.
Circulation in September was really, really good. Phenomenally good, I thought. Breaking this total usage metric going over 5,000 is something we've never seen before. And I just charted it out here going back to June 2015. We kind of hovered down in the 3,500 range, and we're kind of making momentum before COVID happened, and, tanked circulation down to pretty much nothing. And then we kind of started stabilizing, and then right here is our hour jump in July, and August dipped a bit. September, though, was just the best circulating month we've ever had, pretty much across the board. We circed a ton of books to our patrons. DVDs have held steady. The audio-enabled books are the new Wonder books we've been buying, which have the player inside the front cover. And we just lost Kate.
Oh. Is it just Betty and me now?
It's just you and Betty.
Oh.
Well, here we go.
But yeah, Cirque's up physically and digitally. Our increase has definitely been good for us.
Yeah. Well, I can't
Ellie's
see
on our way back in.
the top, but there's a 6671 number too. But I can't see the top of the column.
Yeah, that's our total circulations overall to everyone. So like what we search from our collection to the rest of
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It's a high number, but I don't care about it as much as, you know, our local use topping
Sure.
5,000.
Yeah.
That was a milestone.
Sure.
All right, Ellie's back but muted. I'm going to ask her to unmute.
Unmute. Okay,
Unmute.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so I lost you when you were just starting to do the trustees accounts. So I'm not sure where you are now.
We were just talking about how great circulation was in September.
Oh, all right. And I'm going to turn off my computer because it's just not working. Jeez. I don't know. It just doesn't like it. Okay.
Well, we lost Kate too, right after you. So.
Oh, yeah?
It might not just be you. Y'all both live in the same neck of the woods, don't you?
Sort of some woods in between us, I think. But
did you have any questions about the trustee accounts?
No, because I never really looked at it. So I mean, I can look at it some other time when I do the minutes. So
well,
yeah, circulation was good.
You broke the 5,000 mark.
The top 5,000 total usage metric month.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was just talking about how September was the best circulating month we've ever had on record. Digitally and physically, it was great. Local usage as well as consortial usage of our collections. The increasing our hours is definitely, you know, had the desired effect when it comes to, you know, getting our material out there. And programming, we've increased programming some over last year. In September 2023, we had a total of 12 programs with 91 attendees. And in 2024, we had 20 programs with 121 attendees. So modest gains.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just keep going. 3 unique programs that happened in October were Marco's Cool Weather Flower Gardening with Riddle Brook Farms. We had 5 attendees for that. We had 9 for Disney Movie Trivia Night with Lisa and 2 for Lisa's first homeschool support group. I have a computer again. The parts all came in and I built it a couple weeks ago. And so I'm not a laptop nomad anymore. Attended an area director roundtable a few weeks ago, and it's the first time CW Mars has done those since the pandemic. So like all the libraries in this sort of area, or a lot of them, got together in Dudley. And you know, a lot of the libraries are facing a lot of interesting challenges right now, and I'm just really glad that we're not, you know. It reiterated how happy I am to serve and work in this community, rather than some others. We were going to have a Blackstone Valley Library directors meeting this past week, but 2 directors had to pull out at the last minute because of meetings that they had to schedule at the last minute. So that didn't happen, and we're going to try to make it happen again in January. Other things I'm working on, trying to procure 15 Windows 11 licenses because we've got 15 brand new laptops ready to roll, but they don't have operating systems. Windows licenses are very expensive unless you can buy them through TechSoup, which is the only place I have found to get like the nonprofit, donated discount. But I can't use TechSoup through the municipality because TechSoup does not deliver anything before they receive payment. It's just how they operate. So I've got the town IT guy looking for another source. And if that doesn't pan out before too awful long, I'll probably end
Oh,
up hitting up the friend.
Justin,
Mm-hmm.
we at we're a 501c3 at the museum, and I used to use TechSoup, but I've given up on them. And we got a nonprofit license directly from Microsoft.
I went into the Microsoft nonprofit portal and got all registered and everything. I got us, like our tax information in, the EIN. You've got to get like a domain. Went through all that, and then they directed me to TechSoup.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
It's like, as a library, if you want to, access nonprofit donations, you need to go through TechSoup. I was like, okay, great.
I wonder what would be have been different. Huh.
I think since you're your own 501c3, you have more freedom than the library does as a government agency.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's private, so yeah.
Yeah, the one thing we cannot do is pay for something before the service is delivered, because that is just against municipal procurement law, and that's the one thing TechSoup won't do.
So how much is it? I mean, because the Friends are 501c3
Well, if I were to
organization.
just like straight up buy the Windows licenses for these laptops, it would be $1,665. But if we were to go through TechSoup using the Friends, it would be $285.
Yeah, we could afford that.
Yeah, I'm still hoping though that Dave Vernaglia, the town IT guy, might be able to find a way that we can get the license for the same cost and then just pay for them with our operational budget like I've intended to all along. But if that doesn't pan out, I'll be asking you for money.
Okay. Sounds fair.
I have had to be a mean library director and ban unaccompanied minors from bringing food and drink into the library for the time being. We've have like 3 or 4 different groups of teens who like to hang out in the library, but they've had catch-up fights with little ketchup packets, and they like to throw Jolly Ranchers at each other. And they cannot have a beverage without spilling it. Every year, it seems like there's a different theme to, the problems we face in dealing with teens. And this year, it's just food and candy wrapper and drink messes everywhere. So for the time being, unaccompanied minors, I put a sign on the door, aren't allowed to bring food and drink into the library. If they want to make a mess, they've got to bring a parent with them to clean it up.
Where do they meet?
All over the place. They like to hang out in the in like not the early readers area, but the juvenile area where there's the little round table that they can get behind the stacks. They've been in the DVD room upstairs. Some of them like to play with the train table, so they hang out in the early readers room and play with the train table and the manipulatives. And we're happy to have them here. I'm just we can't have books being destroyed whenever they decide to poke holes in ketchup packets and squirt them at each other. I would like to close the library at 4 p.m. on the eves before Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the New Year. Based on the usage we historically get on those days, I'd rather save the personnel budget than be open, and nobody wants to work till 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, or the night before Thanksgiving. So
I don't think anyone's going to argue with that.
As long as everybody's on board with that would be, I'd like that to be the plan for the holidays. The town may end up giving everyone half a day off for Christmas. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It just kind of depends. And if
No,
they
Christmas
do,
Eve
we'll
or
have to
Christmas
adjust
Eve.
that somehow. But, just by default, no one wants to work Christmas Eve.
I think it's in the bylaws, the personnel bylaws, that the town gives Christmas Eve half day and Christmas Day. So, but not New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve will just be unpaid.
And I'm not sure about Thanksgiving. That might be unpaid too.
Yeah, that'll also be unpaid. But everyone's fine with that. They just don't want to be here. They want to be home cooking. And it'll also help make up for the Douglas Winter Stroll, because I'm going to have to call staff in on December 14th for that big event. See, I attended a fire department open house on October the 9th, which was pretty awesome. Handed out 30 bags of safety information, library information, friends auction bookmarks. And our public safety program will not be this Thursday evening. It was last Thursday evening, and we had 5 attendees. There were originally 13 registered, 2 cancellations, but then only 5 showed up. So we've had a lot of issues with no-shows after people register for library programs, and that's becoming a little tiresome, but hopefully it gets better. And we're going to sort of redo publicity for the second one, repost the flyers so that it's just the one program instead of 2 programs, and all that jazz. And the Douglas Winter Stroll is shaping up to be awesome. So December 14th from 4 to 7, I believe, we're going to be having Mr. and Mrs. Claus here at the library. Ellie knows Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus used to work for Ellie. And they're like really awesome Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So they'll be here for pictures. We're going to have a craft for kids. There's going to be an adult craft with face painting again. We'll have the cider and hot cocoa like we did last year. And then downstairs in the program room, there's going to be 3 performances of a comedy music show, which just start at 30-minute increments throughout the event. So people can wander in and then, enjoy that if they want to.
Cool.
That's all I had in my director's report.
What is that called? The stroll thing?
The Douglas Winter Stroll.
Douglas Winter Stroll. Okay. Well, I guess I have to come down and say hi to my friend.
Yes, she said it was mandatory.
I know.
Said you better be here. You can get your picture taken with Santa.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait.
All right, moving on to old business, accessibility next steps.
So after my meeting with Matt this morning, and I sent an email out sort of outlining everything. Did everybody get a chance to read it?
Yeah.
His thoughts, just to kind of sum them up for the meeting, was that we're doing a great job. We're making a lot of progress. But to realistically be able to tackle the project that we want to tackle without, big town infusion of funds, like a debt exclusion article, we're going to need a lot more. And the market right now is really bad. And the town's relationship with Weston and Sampson has fallen apart because they have proven incapable of holding to their design budgets. It's like, you reach your budget, you stop designing. Well, they reach the budget and then they keep going and then send the town the bill. And so, he can't recommend them to us as a cost-effective way of getting any preliminary design work done. There's hope that when Pine Pit is done excavating their mountain, that area will be ready for another major economic development project, and that's the time when the town will have, some money to grant us to assist with, a library renovation stuff. But, we were talking through it today, and he said if we tried to pull any triggers right now, then we would end up having enough, for planning to get 30% conceptual design done. Then we would have to find donors to actually fund the construction because that's where all of our money would go. So right now, I don't think there is a next step other than continue growing the accounts, investing the money, and wait. I did communicate with DCAM. They were not helpful. They just directed me to the Mass Mod grant application that we've applied for before whenever we were trying to put in a Lula lift. And, just everything is super expensive right now. There's, he was hoping that the free cash and the what we have right now would get us farther than it is. But, he said, the fire department project, he was expecting it to be like 350,000, and then the costs are coming back at twice that. Just because everything is inflated right now in the construction world and materials world and, everything.
It might be nifty to, I know I've asked and you've all voted me down on it, of somehow trying to get more money into our funds by using, I'm suggesting 50% of our state grant. Here we get money from the state, and it would be nice to be able to use it for this purpose, I think. But still have some left for other people. Okay, are you frozen on me again?
Nope.
Okay, you're just, it looked like you were, so. So anyway, I know we can't vote or talk, but I really think it would be nice if people did think about this a little bit more, and so that we could somehow get more money for our building fund. I know the state money can't go into an interest-bearing account, but at least if we reserved it for something like that, it would be nice. And no other department has raised their own money for a building project, and that was my point of making that whole picture back to when we had our first building thing in what was before 2000 or something like that. Mm-hmm. that it is it's been going on for a long time. We've been ignored for a long time, and we've raised money for quite a while. So that's my thoughts. That's all.
I think that I noted reading Justin's email and the point he made, and I think we know with other libraries too. It seems like in many cases it's the donors that make the difference. Mm-hmm. And we've tried that, and we don't have people like that, I guess, in Douglas. But it just seems like in some towns, being, Webster being my most prevalent example, and have a library named after them.
Well, actually, that one was politically done because it was when Richard Moore was still a state senator, and he was trying to win an election for which Fat Man was running against him. And so he thought, oh, well, Webster is a big community. And so he offered to provide them with 75%. The state provided 75% of to Webster for their new library. And usually it's under 50% that you get, but that was Senator Moore's effort that got that.
There was still a huge private donation too.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, but they did get 75% of their building needs from the state, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
So, I don't know who their private one was, or if they had a lot of trustees or not trusts.
No, with Ellie in Webster, it's the people who, commerce insurance, map free.
Yeah, that's true. And they fund things
Many
like
things, many
Slater,
things.
the Slater Museum.
Not no, it was a different person with the museum, but the police department,
Yeah, yeah.
and the library. Those were largely, there was very large private funding involved.
Yeah, so that's where we, the pine, sand and stone project, which I haven't really heard that much about, but I've asked about it before at the last building and facilities meeting that I went to. But and then also the new big warehouse thing, that those ones should be stepping forward. And I guess it's being funded by the same person. That's what I learned, that the guy who put up the first warehouse wants to do a second one, but it would be more for uh, not for storing stuff, but for doing something with software or hardware, computerized, I think.
But the first one you're talking about is CRG, right? The cubes.
Yeah, yeah.
And the second one will be off Old Lucky Dam Road.
Yeah. The second one would be where Pine is now.
With Bosma?
They're flattening it out. Yeah. You said that?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
that
so once
one
they're done excavating that site, it'll be like ready for economic development because it already has all of the electrical and all that stuff it needs.
Yeah.
So like the town will be able to do another big thing without as much of the overhead investment that it's taken to develop the other two lots.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have some guarantee that somebody's going to come and use those buildings?
Yeah, right.
The cube has no tenant of yet. Is that they built it and they had no tenant? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, they want one tenant. They don't want to have like 50 different people storing stuff there. That's
just usually it goes the other way around. The tenant wants it and then you build it.
right, exactly.
Yeah, my understanding is that the company's really just holding out for one tenant to come in, so they don't have to subdivide it. But it really doesn't matter to the town because the people who own the building still have to pay
right.
the taxes and everything on it.
But they'll pay more when somebody's in there.
I honestly don't know.
I think so.
I don't know how that works.
If the appraisal goes up, if the worth of the property, if it's popular, I mean, if it's a good property, then the town will get more out of them for their real estate taxes.
And business taxes too, I presume.
What kind?
Business taxes.
Business taxes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a person, so I don't know. I don't know about business taxes.
So we'll just keep trying to
Well,
grow the money
Yep.
and hope the market improves. And when the time is right, hopefully we have the funding necessary to put
Yeah.
some force behind this hammer.
And construction costs come down. That would be helpful.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, neither do I.
For outdoor brickwork, I learned that whenever you come back with a quote that is over $50,000, the capital committee won't even put it on the capital plan until you have a second quote. So we need two quotes. And the BFCC has to be involved as well because that triggers their threshold. Although Matt was a little bit, this morning whenever I was talking to him about the building renovation stuff, he questioned whether that is actually true since the library isn't technically a town property. It acts like one for all intents and purposes, but he called it a reverter since if, anything ever happens to it, it reverts to not town property. But I was trying to go through the MHEC because after going through their expo, they touted up their virtual quote desk where you could basically type in anything, submit a bunch of supporting documentation, and they would find you the right vendor to supply you with a quote. But that's gone nowhere. So I manually went through all of their contracts, and they don't have any really for construction. It's all mostly like procuring stuff and things rather than services and engineers and stuff. So I need to find another place to get a quote for exterior, brickwork and ceiling before we can get anything on the capital plan to that effect. Interior painting is done. All told, it was $9,644.27 to remove the radiators, patch the walls, install some new shelving brackets, repair, the damage that was in the corner from old water impingement, and just fixing up some other troublesome peeling spots. So the library on the inside no longer looks like it's peeling from the inside out, which is nice. In the basement, we've reached a point where we need to do some ceiling work before moving Deb into her future room and moving on with basement shuffling. The archive and Deb's room both have, well, I'm down here, so I can just show you all the stuff. Those kinds of ceilings. And the boards in between the cross beams are the floorboards for the main floor. So like there's nothing beneath that. There's just a thin layer of carpet over it, and then you've got those. So every time someone steps, it knocks dust all over the place, and it's also really loud, which isn't as much of an issue in the archive because it's under the main stacks. But in Deb's future office, it's under the DVD room, which is the highest trafficked area in the library and is really, really loud when there's people hanging out up there. So what Brian LaValle proposed was rather than sealing in the whole thing, just installing a thin layer of insulation right beneath the floorboards and then edging in drywall in between the cross beams. So we'd still be able to see the cross beams. But instead of just the bare floor up there, you'd have a layer of sound protection, insulation, and it would look really cool too. The problem is his quote was $7,500 per room, and our repairs and maintenance budget only has $6,299 left in it. So I put in a request to Unibank because they give us money usually once or twice a year. They give us $2,000 to $2,500. And we've always put it towards buying more ebooks. We took care of that problem with our budget increase. We've got the money for ebooks now. So I asked them to fund either one or both of these rooms. And I'm waiting to hear back from them. But I'm hopeful. And if they come back with a no, I think we could still go ahead and do Deb's room this fiscal year because we've got $6,299 in repairs and maintenance. We've got $860 in dues and memberships, which I don't plan on spending because we're going to take a year off from MLA. I think doing that every other year is kind of a good, balance of, cost benefit rather than like just maintaining the memberships every single year and paying for the conference fees every single year. And, we could drop a month of CPC licenses too. this doesn't affect our materials expenditure requirements. So if we cut out a month of CPC budget, combine with that, spend the rest of our repairs and maintenance budget, I think that would get us to the point where we could move Deb into her office. But I'm hoping we don't have to do that, because I'm hoping Unibank will be generous.
Is there anything that the trustees can do to?
Oh, hi, Ellie.
Hi. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to hang it up. I probably need to. Okay. I guess it's over. Sorry.
Hooray.
But
you asked, is there anything the trustees to do? And then your voice went all wonky.
Yeah. Hello, Moto. Due to encourage Unibank to do this, is there representatives from Douglas on Unibank's board? It used to be Brent Dorville, Caroline's husband, and Ken Ballou, but I don't know who it is now. Neither of them are on the Unibank board anymore, but it might be worthwhile talking to the rep. I would think that Karen Yacino would know who the reps from Douglas are, because they try to always have in the communities that they serve representatives.
Yeah,
And
I will poke Karen about that. See if like a little presentation might help, or maybe even a little tour.
Or just who are the reps in Douglas, so that you can talk, because it's not Karen that makes the decision. It's unless it's for Karen would make it if it was a Douglas thing that her bank is funding. But if it's Unibank larger stuff, and I'm curious about how the where the scarecrows are, what's that called? The something or other.
Town Common?
Yeah, the Town Common Committee. They got money from Unibank, as they did from the Webster Credit Union. And I don't know how much they got, but that was, that, and I don't know if Webster Credit Union has the same, it's the credit union, so as opposed to a bank. So I don't know that they're set up the same way, or if they have anybody on their committee that, or on their board of directors that is from Douglas. That those are the people. It's just like the trustees are the ones that vote for or against stuff that comes up at our directors meeting, our trustees meeting. And it's the same thing with the banks. It's not Karen or you that make those decisions. It's the directors that make the decision. So it's just finding that out. Karen could tell you who it is from Douglas. It used to be two people. And I think, what was it? Pete Tatro was on it at one point. He was on.
He was a corporator.
Yeah. So that's what that's what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The corporator is not the same as a board of directors, though. But is it a grant that you're getting? Is there a foundation or is it a grant review committee or something?
I don't know. I'll ask Karen about the process, and then see, ask her who I can talk to, if I can talk to anybody, and then.
But the corporators are sort of like the community ambassadors. So that's what Pete was, and that's what those two people you mentioned as well, Ellie, I think.
Okay.
So they're like I said, they do the community relations, so that makes sense, right? It's big for you.
Yeah, the reason I haven't gone to Webster first is I actually went to church with a guy who was on their what do they call it? Like community generosity committee or whatever, like whoever decides how they divvy out, all of this community money that they give away. And they had a very strict no capital campaigns, no facilities policy. Like they only do programmatic stuff that affects services. So unless they've changed those rules, they won't be interested in helping us with our ceilings.
Yeah, well, that's the same with Unibank. That's why they gave to your CPC stuff, because it wasn't a capital type thing.
I'm hoping though that since this isn't actually, like we're asking you for capital funding to fund a project. Maybe it's like we're asking you, we've got a quote in hand. Can you fund it?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So how much was it for both rooms that Brian LaValle had given you the quote? How much?
7,500 per room.
Per
That'd be
room.
15,000 total, right?
Okay, I gotcha. I thought it was total. All right, per room equals 15,000 total. All right.
Okay,
our capital campaign numbers will be dust in the wind at the next meeting.
Yeah.
But I mean, last month saw pretty significant gains too. Like this is the time of year whenever people start donating, and the Friends of the Library auction happens, and the Oktoberfest book sale happens. So in September, we were at 244,000. This month, we're at 247,000. And this doesn't include any of the money that has been made from the Friends of the Library online auction, which exceeds $10,000.
Cool.
Which, unless there's any other old business, is the next thing on the agenda, the Friends auction.
Well, why don't you have a better feel for the money that has come in. I just go to the bank and that's it. So but Justin, why don't you report on the Oktoberfest amount and the auction amount and whatever else is there. Oh, the merch or whatever.
I'm going to do Oktoberfest first, since it's clear, done, cut and dry. It was a really good Oktoberfest. Our door counter tracked 1,013 through the front door. Granted, a lot of that was us going back and forth, but still, it was a very impressive door count. And book sale results topped $1,000 at $1,059.52, which all rolled over into the building fund. The auction isn't done yet because we're still collecting money from the winners. And there's still people who haven't come and picked up their items. And people are tending to overpay. So like we're not certain what we will have raised until the last person pays. And, we've had people donate an extra $50. We've had people donate an extra $100. We've had people donate an extra $2. But, a lot of people are just rounding up their winnings to like a next even integer and saying, here, consider this a donation. The last tally I made, I believe, was $10,855 raised. When you count all the high bids, all the donations, and all of the business sponsorships that went in up front, like from Pine, from GBI, and the like. So once that's all done, there will be, more in-depth reporting, and I'll be bragging to the community about how great of a job the Friends did on the auction this year, because it was fun. It started out slow, and a lot of people were kind of worried. But it developed a lot of traction midway through. We had a huge burst of registrations for it in like the last 2 days. And that's when the bidding really started to ramp up. Because like 2 days before the close of the auction, we were only at like 5,000, and then high bids topped 8,000 before the end. So it was like 2 days went up $3,000.
Awesome.
And pickups have gone smooth too. There's not very many lots left down here to pick up. All three of the Friends of the Library windows have passed, but people know they can just kind of drop in at this point, or make an appointment to come get their stuff. And I've connected all the people who bid and won on intangibles like the police cruiser ride and the fire station tour with the people that they needed to be connected with. So everyone seems happy.
Yeah.
And the merch store is something I'm hoping we can launch on Black Friday, because I think that would be fun. But we've gotten a lot of people ask about, don't do this Zoom window. I need access to this. There we go. Okay. So this is my SFPL's shop right now, and it only has two things in it. Tote bags and stickers and magnets. But once this is fleshed out, people will be able to go to the store, buy t-shirts, magnets, coffee cups, whatever branded merch they want. And the friends will get, I forget what I set it at. I set it at a pretty low threshold. But like a small percentage of the sales will go to the friends' PayPal account. You can either leave it at base and make nothing, or you can mark it up a little bit, and then that markup you get to keep, and then it's like a fundraiser. But we want to populate this with all sorts of cool merch that people can buy with our branded logo on it, for the library and for the friends. And Lisa's made up like a kids logo as well, so that we could make stuff for that might appeal to kiddos.
Who's your vendor, Justin?
Threadless.
Oh yeah, you said that. Okay.
I put it out to a whole bunch of other library directors, and Threadless seems to be everybody's favorite, because it's pretty easy to use. The products are high quality. It's environmentally friendly and sustainable and artist friendly and all that jazz.
What is
is pretty easy to use.
Is merch an actual word?
Short for merchandise.
Well, merchandise, yeah, I figured that part out, but beyond that, I don't know if merch is a real word.
Yep, real word.
It is?
I don't know if it's been added to the dictionary, but
it's colloquial.
Is that
going to be a word after they vote on the new words for the year?
Yeah.
Don't know.
It's in the Cambridge Dictionary.
Yeah,
well, that's not the OED.
But I'm hoping that we can get staff involved to try to, I don't want, you can put everything in this store. You can slap your logo on skateboards and yoga mats and quilts, throw pillows, curtains, all sorts of ridiculous stuff. And I don't want to do that, because I don't want people to go and just be like, oh, there's just the SFPO logo on everything. What is this place? But I'm hoping to sort of try to get a few good looking, attractive, things that people might be interested in buying arrayed out, and then have it ready to launch on Black Friday. And then it can just be a permanent link from our website. So if anyone's ever interested in a library t-shirt, we can just say, well, if you're interested in one, you can buy one here. And I'll be the first one to buy a library hoodie.
Ooh. I definitely want a sticker.
Everybody wants stickers. I don't see the appeal, but it's a high demand thing.
Stickers are very popular.
And specifically water cup stickers. I guess the thing now is
Yeah.
you get stickers to put on your water cup. So they have to be dishwasher safe. And, people are after a specific type of sticker.
This is true.
So those are the things we're working on.
Cool. It's almost vacation time for you.
It is. Is there any other things to report for the Friends, Ellie?
No, you did a really good job. Thank you.
I don't have any other old business and new business, though. Our next trustee meeting, we should probably try to find another date for. I'm going to be on a big road trip from November 18th to December 8th. And everything is sorted out here in the library. But it does kind of put our next trustee meeting into turmoil, because the next trustee meeting would be regularly scheduled for the 19th. The 26th, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And I won't be here. And the following trustee meeting would be scheduled for Christmas Eve, which I'm assuming we don't want to do. So
Probably not.
just trawling through the library calendar, December 17th looks like an attractive date to kind of have a joint November-December meeting, as long as we can wrap up before Sci-Fi Book Club.
Probably
Works for
not.
me.
Well, why don't you have it so you're not conflicting with a program that you like to go to?
There's not any dates that don't conflict with the program, I don't think.
I mean, we're doing Zoom.
Be back on the
conflicting
8th.
with your
The
stuff.
10th interferes with your program because that's Intrepid Readers.
Right. That's the 10th of November, right?
The 10th of December.
Oh, okay. Well, what is not in your what day of the week is best for you to do stuff that you're not doing a sci-fi program or whatever?
Fourth Tuesdays and fifth Tuesdays when we have them, but that one's New Year's Eve.
When do you
because we
get
have
back?
to start talking about the budget. I think if we're having a combined November, December thing, we have to talk about the fiscal year next year budget. So you should have something prepared for that.
Tell me again when you get back from vacation.
December
The
8th.
Yeah, well, it's going to be busy for a little after that, catching up with everything.
So I mean, the 10th and 17th could work too if we moved it to 4 instead of 5.
I'm okay with that.
17th is okay.
Because that would give us the extra time we need before either Intrepid Readers or Sci-Fi Book Club to bang out a meeting.
You must be back in November.
Either one of those is fine with me.
I just booked reservations from a flight for myself on the 10th, so that will not work, but the 17th probably would.
So December
December?
17th.
December.
Does 4 p.m. work?
Yes.
All right. And then the last thing I wanted to sort of mention is that the Douglas Way has been a huge success. Our newsletter outreach works for a lot of people who don't read newspapers, who are not interested in social media, but everyone has an email account. And our open rates and our click-through rates and our engagement rates on our library newsletters are really, really good compared to, the average. And after the fire department open house, I was noticing there was a lot of people on Facebook saying, I didn't know about this. And how could I have known about this? And I feel like that is a problem that we, or specifically Rebecca, can solve, because she's really good at rooting out all the things that are happening, compiling them into readable forms, and getting it out ahead of schedule. So, like, she's already bugging me about, winter stroll details in December so she can get it to newspapers for their next upcoming publication date, which is annoying as heck, but it needs to be done if we're going to get, the news out in a timely fashion. So I had the idea of, like, why don't you, Rebecca, trawl the other departmental websites, rip all of the meetings off of the town calendar, because the town website is kind of a disaster. And then just compile it into an email form that we could send out in a monthly newsletter and call it something like the Info Mill, or maybe just the Mill, or the Douglas Mill. But, send out the Douglas Way, which is our library newsletter, and then send out the Mill, which is just a list of all of the stuff that is happening in the community, when meetings are, when elections are, just all that kind of, hyper local specific information, which people are having a hard time finding, and then just deliver it to their inbox once a month. And she had me a rough draft inside of an hour, so it's not going to be a huge lift for her. So we were thinking maybe start mid-December with a January edition of, what's going on in Douglas in January, how you can get involved, like what things are going on, like the highway department open house, or, other club events and things. Just, and not really add a lot to it, but just make it, a readable, short, truncated calendar-y type list of local stuff. Because I want people to look forward to seeing it and be able to find the things that they're interested in it, rather than being lambasted with, like a flyer for every event, because like that just gets long, burdensome, bothersome, and nobody wants that. But, just like a short list of what's going on in town, delivered to people's inboxes once a month, I feel like could be a good thing. And then if, once it's been going for a while, hopefully we can get other departments to start voluntarily contributing their content instead of having to go out and get it. And then when people, ask on Facebook, why didn't I hear about this? The simple answer will be, well, because you're not subscribed to this newsletter. Please subscribe to this newsletter and you'll never miss out on anything again.
I love that idea.
I like that too. I think it does sound, I mean, it's perfect for a library who provides information. This is just, it goes right along with what you should be doing. So,
Yep.
But right now you only have the email of people who have library cards.
Well, we can start with that list and then grow it, because I can make 2 subscription places, like one where people can subscribe to the library newsletter and one where people can subscribe to the Douglas newsletter. So if you're interested in library news but not Douglas news, you don't have to be subscribed to both. You could subscribe to one or the other list. Or if you're interested just in Douglas news but not library news, you could subscribe to the Douglas Mill and not the Douglas Way. And then hopefully I could get, that registration link, and not just on the library website, but out on, other departmental websites too, other social media, just so that, people in town know that it's kind of, if you want to know about stuff, then just subscribe to this once a month newsletter. And Rebecca will tell you.
That's awesome. We definitely need that.
And that's all I got for this month.
That's a lot.
Things are going good.
that's good.
Yeah. All right.
Does anyone else have anything to add to the informal not a meeting before we stop recording?
Nothing
No.
new from.
Kate, you want to adjourn us?
All right. Do I need a motion?
No, no, you can't.
All right, we're adjourned.